Hi, I'm Reba with the Mystery Box Show. Today's story comes from someone who saw our video on how to pitch a story to us and said, I've got a story to share, and we are so glad that she did because she's such a treasure. Please welcome Regina Akins.
About a year ago, I was at the laundromat with my girlfriend Christy, and I had made myself comfortable up on top of one of the long laundry tables, and I was dumping all my frustrations about my life onto her while she's doing laundry for a friend of hers that she offered to help. Um, I didn't realize that I guess I had zoned off when I was hit with a hot, piping, steaming load of laundry. Um, and it took me by surprise. I was startled and I was pulling these clothes down off my head. Christy's laughing and she asked me, "Where did you go right then?" I noticed that there was some G strings in all these men's clothing that I was covered with. But I started instead to tell her, about my big realization I just had that my life isn't going anywhere because I'm not making decisions to make it go anywhere different than where it's at. And from this moment, I am going to consciously make decisions from trying everything at least once. And she looks at me, she's like, "Really?" And I'm like confident in my decision. And I'm like, "Yes, really." And she says, or I look over and I see the G strings and I pick them up and I'm like, "Okay, whose girlfriend forgot their panties?" And she starts laughing. She says, "Nobody." She says, "Those are my friend Sean's and he wears them." And then she says, "Just as soon as I'm done here, I've got to deliver these clothes to his house. Would you want to follow me over there?" And so I look at her and I'm like, "Well, considering I've never met a man who wears G strings that I'm aware of, I can't say no now, can I?" And she starts laughing, and we finish folding up the clothes, and we load them all in the car. And so I follow her over to her friend Sean's, and I help her take the clothes in. And she introduces us briefly for a few minutes, and I leave and I go home. Later on that night, I'm laying in bed and about to go to sleep, and I get a text message from an unknown number. And I open the text, and it says, "Hey, this is Sean. I was wondering if you might want to come over and let's get naked and play around." And I'm like, "Who does he think he is texting me this?" And I'm getting offended by the way I'm not talking to him, but just briefly, and he's going to talk to me like this. But before I could text him back, just what I thought, I got another text, and it said, "I told Christy earlier today that I wanted to fuck you. I don't know if she got in touch with you and told you or not. I hope I haven't offended you." And that made up for it. I was like, "Oh." But then it hit me, and I start welling up with tears, and I'm like, "Oh my God, somebody wants to fuck me." And after the year I had of nothing in my life, this was something that I was like very emotional about. And so I text him back and I tell him, "I'm insecure with my body. I'm not really comfortable with sex. All I've had was married sex. And in my experience, it was 3 to 5 minutes. And I didn't get a chance to really enjoy it." And he comes back from my response, and he's like, "Well, I hate to hear that. I'd be more than happy to help you work through that. If you want to come over." And so I'm like, "Really, you would show me how to be more confident in my sex and experiences that I haven't had?" And he's like, "Sure." And I said, "Well, it's really late tonight, so how about I come tomorrow?" And we, agreed. And I show up the next day, and I've dressed up really nice, and he's dressed up. So I'm thinking, well, maybe we're going to go to dinner or something first. And he he says, just straight out, well, if we're going to do this right, we're going to need some supplies. So we need to go run up to the toy store, if you don't mind. And I'm like, okay, well, so much for wine me and dine me first, but here we go. So we jump in the car and we're headed up to the toy store. And he asked me this question. He said, if you could have any size penis, out of all the penises, what size penis would you have if you were a man? Well, I had never been asked that kind of question or even looked at that as an option, so I didn't know what to say. And my response was, I wear a size 11 shoe, which, silly, but I was nervous. And so going into the toy store when we get here, and you pick out whatever penis you want in the store. That, if you were a man, that's what you would be endowed with. Pick out any one that you want. We'll get you a harness and you can strap it on and you can fuck me. And I was like, confused. This wasn't something that, I'd ever been asked to do before. Would I be interested? I don't know. I'm hearing my mother over here with her opinion and my grandmother over here with her opinion. And then Christy's face pops up. And she's like, really? Which reminded me of my big decision to try everything at least once. So I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah, let's do it. So we get to the toy store, and I go in, and the size 11s are like freaking huge. And I'm like, okay, so technically that's a size 9 in men. And we move down a section, and I pick it out, and we get back to his or we get back in the car, I'm sorry, and we start heading back to his place. And I asked him, so what is this all about? And he tells me about back when he was younger and picking up chicks, that he would always ask for anal sex from them. And this one girl one night was like, you know what? Yeah, sure, but you first. And I was thinking to myself, I really like this chick. But he said that she had all the equipment and everything, and she taught him something different, and it changed his life. And he thinks that women in strap-ons, you can't find anything sexier, And so I'm like taking his word for it, listening to his story, and we get back to his place. And I go in the bathroom to put it all together and put it on. And so I get my phone out and I start taking pictures of it. I'm holding it up, taking pictures of it. And I send the pictures to my friend Christy. And I'm like, look what you've gotten me into. And she takes me back. How did I get you into that? And I'm like, oh, whatever. And anyway, I asked her, are you coming by here later on? And she's like, probably no. And she's like, just text me how it goes tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And so, I had to leave the bathroom sometime, and I was nervous and not feeling real sure of myself, but I go out of the bathroom and I walk past this mirror as I'm going into Sean's bedroom. And I look up and I see Sean laid out on the bed, and he's got on his G-strings and he's looking sexy. And then I get a glimpse of myself in this mirror, and I take a couple steps back and I'm looking in the mirror, and all of a sudden I just I don't know, my shoulders raised up, and I was like, wow, I am sexy. And so, it's like an alter ego came out. And I go over and I look up, and Sean's got a projector screen on the wall of his bedroom, and he's got porn playing up on the wall. And so he said, this is what pegging is. And we watched some videos, and so that I could kind of get an idea of what we were about to do. And he gives me the lube, and I put the lube on the penis, and I'm watching the instructional porn, I guess, of pegging on the wall, and Sean starts laughing, and I'm like, "What are you laughing at?" And he's like, "You're natural. Look at you." And you're sitting there stroking your dick. And I was watching the porn, not even realizing I was doing it. And, so that broke the ice quite a bit. And then we decided to go ahead and start, getting the hang of it and everything. And he's like, "Now you got to go slow." And when I guess my idea slow and his idea slow were on at the same level, and I went a little too fast, and he was very, very gentle and patient because I put him through so much. So we had to recover from that just a little bit, and then and then I decided I was going to be sexy with it and smack him on the ass a few times and hit him in the balls. And yeah, that was another moment that we had to rejuvenate from. And then, but through this, I'm just laughing and having a good time, and I'm not self-conscious about my body. I feel like a totally different person. And so then I get it in perfect, and it's starting to feel good, and I'm getting the moves going. And, all of a sudden I look up, and, I guess it was going so good. He starts looks like he's going into shock. And I'm thinking, "Oh no," jump off and go to help him. And I wasn't supposed to do that because he was having an orgasm, and I didn't know that. And anyway, I messed up for him. It was really good, that he said, but this experience was a life changer for me. I had found a part of my personality that I never would have found if Sean hadn't have taken the time to work with me, and through his confidence in his sexuality and the experiences that he enjoys, it's made me more confident in who I am. And, I'm ready to try something new all the time now. But through that decision that I made to consciously decide to make or to try everything at least once, I was able to just be more confident in myself. And I don't know, it's the feeling that you get whenever you feel good about your body and about yourself in a way that you used to, be scared and nervous. It's life changing. And, since then, or that time, I stayed 3 weeks, and that was for one whole time. So, and I got plans for later tonight.
Thanks for watching. Let us know what you thought of Regina's story in the comments below. And if you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/mysteryboxshow. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of our upcoming live streams and confession corners. We'll see you next time.